Hi Laura, welcome to Knowledge Nuggets. Thank you for your time. So if you just explain a little bit more about you, then we will get into today's topic, which is habits to optimize your health and well-being.
Hi, thanks for having me, Abby.
A pleasure as always.
Well, I've been a personal trainer since March 2015, so 6.5 years coming up to. Before that, I worked in recruitment, so I had a career change. I think I was 33. I've got an advanced diploma in personal training. I'm also pre and postnatal qualified, and I have a level 4 qualification in cancer rehab for exercise as well, or through exercise. But mainly I just work with the general public, and my real passion in life is just helping people get fitter, stronger, and enjoy life, basically enjoy exercise. And that's kind of what I do.
Yeah, nice. And the topic today, we were chatting and you're going to discuss habits that are going to help people make their life better, especially focusing on health and fitness. So what is number 1 on your list?
Okay, so I'm just going to caveat everything I say first of all and say, understandably, not everyone is going to be able to incorporate this stuff into their lives. And people's lifestyles are very different, and some people have more time than others, and some people have young children, which can obviously take precedent over certain lifestyle habits. But they're just some ideas that I wanted to throw out there that might help people, whether they pick and choose one or two. So for me, all of these habits, I genuinely do believe help me feel fitter, healthier, happier on a daily basis. So the first one is daily movement. I'm really, really passionate about exercise. I truly do think that exercise has definitely transformed my life. It enhances my life on a daily basis. And I always feel better when I move. So I try and move every day. And when I say move, it doesn't necessarily mean I have a workout every day. I definitely don't. So I might have a kind of structured workout. I aim for about 4 sessions a week from a structured workout perspective. But outside of that workout, all those workouts, I try and move my body every day. So most days I try and aim for, getting kind of 10,000 steps in. We know that the 10,000 number is a little bit of an arbitrary number, but for me, if I've done 10,000 steps, I know I've moved a decent amount for my body, and I know that I'm going to feel at my best because I've done that. So try and get out and do a walk every day, try and get 10,000 steps in. My job and your job makes it a little bit easier for us to get steps in because we do stand up most of the day. But on days where I haven't been standing up so much, I try and make sure that I get out and I walk, or I'll get off a couple of bus stops early, or I'll walk a journey if I can, rather than getting on public transport. So it's just that kind of thing. Just try and slot movement into my day as and where I can. Exactly.
Makes sense. And I always say, like, if you can't do 10,000 steps, don't be put off.
Definitely.
Try something realistic, even if it's 4,000. And you normally just do 1,000, then that's 4 times as much. So just a target that's going to be realistic for you, and it's not going to be too unachievable so much that you don't do anything.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. If you're currently doing, like you say, 1,000, aiming for 10,000 is completely unrealistic, probably. And like you say, if you suggest that to a client, it tends to push people the other way. But from my perspective, steps do add up. If, for instance, I can walk to a train station rather than get on a bus, then I might do that if I have time. Or, even just walking to the supermarket rather than taking the car if I don't have a lot to buy. Just generally going about, your day-to-day business and trying to be on your feet as much as possible, taking the stairs rather than taking lifts. All of that stuff adds up. And our bodies were designed to move. So our bodies aren't designed to sit down for kind of 10, 12 hours a day. We are designed to move. So I personally feel that I am at my best when I have moved a decent amount every day.
Yeah, makes sense. And I think it's just about changing little tiny habits. So you might get used to getting on a bus to going to the shop. So then it's just thinking, okay, right, do I need to get this bus?
Exactly.
I'll walk it instead. Okay.
Exactly.
Number 2.
Okay. Number 2 is lifting weights. Now, this is a whole topic on its own.
Indeed.
I say it all the time. You'll advocate this as well. Lifting weights was life-changing for me. And I think we should do a separate Insta about that at another point. But my main source of kind of structured exercise is weightlifting. When I was in my 20s, it was definitely more cardio based exercise. So kind of I was really into running and spinning and kind of body attack and boot camps. And now that I'm a bit older, I've definitely changed my focus, and weightlifting has become my, you know, one of my great loves. Main reasons that I love lifting weights are it's amazing for concentration. So it's mindful exercise. You concentrate on what you're doing. You know, you're concentrating on the movements, the positions of your body, the contraction of the muscles that you're working. So from that perspective, it has quite a meditative quality to it. You know, if you've had a stressful day, or you've got some, you know, stuff going on in your life which is giving you difficulty, then I've personally found it has been really helpful in terms of relieving stress, relieving anxiety, and generally improving my mood. So from that perspective, it's been a bit of a game changer. It's also very, very satisfying. You know, when you learn how to lift heavy stuff well, you know, with technical precision, it's bloody satisfying. And when you start, you know, appreciating your body from a performance perspective, so you know, appreciating what it can do as you get stronger, you start to feel less inclined to be worried about how much you weigh or what you might look like in the mirror. I mean, you know, it's not a magic cure, but for me, certainly it has definitely improved my body image and my relationship with my body. And that's been quite a crucial change for me as far as you know, my well-being and my happiness is concerned. So yeah, it's had a big part to play. It
is satisfying if you're working towards lifting a certain amount of weight and then you do it, you know.
Exactly. It's amazing.
And it's handy to be strong as well.
It's very handy to be strong.
Bags, for example, you know.
Exactly. Genuinely. It's very handy to be strong. You know, I've had more energy since I've got stronger. My mobility has increased since I've got stronger. My confidence in general has increased, because I think, you know, when you walk into a gym and you lift something really heavy off the floor time and time again, that gives you confidence in other parts of life, especially if you're someone like me, who I did not come from a sporty background. You know, I was a really, you know, unsporty is putting it mildly, fat teenage girl who hated anything related to physical exercise. And so, you know, being able to do something in the gym, which is, you know, pretty cool,
and learn to love it.
Exactly. I've fallen in love with exercise, and I found something that has given me a lot of confidence, where lots and lots of sport historically has done the opposite.
So you found something that worked with you, and stuck with it.
Exactly.
Right, number 3.
Sleep.
Oh, I love sleep.
So this is the big caveat, because I've got lots of friends, and I'm sure there'll be lots of women watching this who have got children, and for them sleep is never going to be at a premium. And what I'm about to say is obviously based on the fact that I don't have children and I have much more control over my routine than other people might. However, I do have that control, so I use it. So I aim for kind of 7.5 to 8.5 hours sleep a night. For me, that's a kind of a really nice amount. I do lead a little bit more in the winter, but in the summer, kind of 7.5 is plenty for me. So I try and aim to go to bed at around the same time every night and wake up at around the same time every morning. I find that kind of keeps your circadian rhythm nice and regular, which also improves energy and mood. I stop using my phone a good 90 minutes or so before I go to bed. And I found that really helps in terms of being able to fall asleep quicker. I've got a checkered history with sleep as far as falling asleep is concerned. And I have had a bit of a history of insomnia, but I've really found that getting rid of the phone, putting it away, so I can't use social media, I can't WhatsApp, I'm not going to Google, putting the phone away and then putting it on airplane mode when I actually go to get into the bedroom has really helped with improving my sleep hygiene.
And that's tricky, because I fall asleep and then I think of something really random. I'm like, well, I've got to Google that right now.
You can't Google.
Go down a rabbit hole and like, what about this?
Exactly.
And then it's like midnight and you've got to be up at 6. So if you can do it, I think, it's a really good habit to get into. I haven't got into it yet, but I could do with doing it. And I think it just helps just relax the brain. And you know, maybe read a book or something if you want to look at something rather than a screen, because then you could go on social media again, another like rabbit hole, and you know, hours can pass. You should really be spending that time getting some rest and recovery.
Indeed, exactly. But yeah, I definitely have found that since I've kind of been a bit stricter with my pre-bed routine, my sleep quality has improved, and that has such a huge impact on how I feel the next day, how I perform at work, and then also how I perform in training if I'm going to train. And all those things really matter to me. You know, I want to be able to, you know, I want to feel energetic through the working day. I want to be able to offer as much energy to my clients and my training as I can. So it is super important to get the sleep in as far as possible. Yeah,
if you can. And I always find if you get enough sleep, you're more likely to eat better the next day.
Of course.
A lot of people, if they're tired, then they'll crave carbs and sugar. And
exactly.
Yeah. So I think if you can, prioritize sleep. Right. What's next?
Okay, controversial one here. No, it's not controversial.
Hit me.
So I have to really be mindful with my alcohol intake. Don't get me wrong, I love a glass of rosé, particularly in the summer, but myself and alcohol are not great friends. And I know that even if I have one drink sort of Monday to Friday, it will interfere with, you know, again, how I sleep, and therefore how I feel the next day, what I might want to eat, what my energy levels are like, etc., etc. So I've been pretty strict with this for a while, to be honest, but I'm certainly as stricter now as I'll probably ever be. And I don't have any alcohol Monday to Friday. Oh, that's a lie, actually. I don't have any alcohol Monday to Thursday. Sometimes I'll have a drink at the weekend, but again, it tends to be if I'm going out for dinner, or if there's a birthday or something. I don't tend to drink at home for the sake of it, because it just doesn't work for me. I don't feel good when I drink. I'd love to be one of those people that could get away with being a bit more of a social drinker, but for me, it doesn't work for my system, and I definitely don't feel at my best. So no alcohol on school nights. So that's no alcohol Monday to Thursday. Occasionally I'll have something on a Friday or a Saturday night, but generally just try and keep it really limited. And I really feel so much better for it from a mental health perspective and a physical health perspective. You know, it really has an impact on all areas for me. So I do have to be quite disciplined about that.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I guess it's just finding out what works for you. Some people might get away with a bit more, some people more of an all or nothing situation. And I guess it's just trying different amounts. Either cut it out, some people, you know, cut it out completely. Just whatever works for you and your lifestyle. Or finding that balance, and then going with it. And try not to feel judged by people because they might not agree with your decisions. So
absolutely, and that's a big one. Yeah, I agree, and I think that's one of the benefits of getting older. I found. Is that people are much less judgmental of your choices. So, you know, when you and I go out for dinner, for instance, you know, if one of us has a glass of wine and one doesn't.
What are you talking about?
No, I'm just putting it out there hypothetically.
One of us, okay.
But there's no judgment, is there? You know, and that's the thing. Like, you know, I just think we've hopefully got past the point in our lives where we judge other people as to whether or not they're having a drink when you go out with them. So for me, limiting it most of the time is the right move.
Makes sense. Next on your list.
Okay, so in terms of what I eat, diet is really, really important in terms of how you feel. The relationship between food and mood. There is a relationship. There certainly is for me, or in my experience. So I try and eat a varied diet that's rich in nutrients, lots of fresh fruit and veg. Try and aim for 30 different sources of plant food over the week. So kind of fruits, nuts, pulses, fruits, vegetables, nuts, pulses. And that just means that I'm getting lots of different nutrients, so lots of nutrient density. Exactly, lots of nutrient dense food. It means my gut health is better. Varied. Exactly. Got so good kind of gut health, lots of fiber, good digestive health. And obviously we know that there's a big link or huge link between the gut and the brain. So
indeed.
A lot of the serotonin that your body produces is produced in the gut. So you want your gut to be kind of functioning in an optimal way. And there's a lot of data to support the link between, you know, poor gut health and chronic illness, poor mental health. And I'm not an expert in that. I'm not a nutritionist, but I know from experience that the better my diet is for me, so the more varied it is, the more, you know, fruits and veg, etc., that I include, the better I feel generally. And I know that when I've had, you know, historically, if I've gone away and had a kind of, you know, been on a hen weekend or whatever, and you've had a diet that's rich in chips and you know, crisps and fried food and exactly.
I mean, it's delicious at the time.
Yeah, obviously it's delicious at the time, but you don't come back feeling like you want to run a marathon, do you? And I think
re-energized,
exactly,
breathy and sluggy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's that sluggishness that I think you don't miss when you kind of start looking into a bit more detail what you eat. And again, this is really individual. I'm only talking about what works for me. But certainly a nice kind of varied food where varied diet where I don't like cooking, but I do try and, you know, make my own meals from scratch as often as possible. That works for me.
And I guess that's like introducing new habits, and maybe getting like different cookbooks or some inspiration off the internet, because sometimes you just get in the habit of making the same stuff and then you might just get bored with.
Definitely.
But then just mixing it up with a couple of different recipes, and maybe like cooking, like batch cooking some food with lots of vegetables in, putting in the freezer. Then when you got no time or you can't be bothered, then at least you've got a healthy option to just
exactly. And I think as well, like always having, you know, if you can, having a few different protein sources in the fridge. So you know, having maybe some smoked salmon in there, or some cottage cheese, or some halloumi, or some tofu, or whatever it might be. Then always having a little bit of, you know, a few vegetable sauces in the fridge. So you might have a bag of salad, a pepper, some tomatoes, an aubergine, I don't know. So you've always got a little supply of things you can pull together. And I mean, I, you know, definitely will go into Pret and buy, you know, the salads in Pret, or in Waitrose I might buy some of the pre-prepared like lentil salads or quinoa salads, that kind of thing, and that's all good. But I just try and stick with the whole, you know, nutrient variety theme during my week. So I just try and pull as many different kind of dietary sources into my week.
Sounds good. Cool. Right, what's next?
Social media usage.
Social media, indeed.
So
you have been a big fan of social media and its usage.
And I am a big fan of it. Don't get me wrong. I am a big fan of it. I had a little break from it at the end of last year, which did me the world of good, actually. I just felt like I was spending too much time looking at things that I wasn't interested in, and it was a really good break. So I had about 6 weeks where I deleted the apps, and that was really, really good for my mental health. But I found that the more time I spend on social media during the day, the less focus I have on what's actually going on around me, and the less energy I have. So what I do now is I have a little rule that I'm not allowed to go on social media until lunchtime. So avoid it all morning. So I don't get up and use my phone first thing. Well, I might use my phone for other things, but I don't go on social media. I'll allow myself a little bit of time on social media at lunchtime. Then I try and stay away from it mid-afternoon, and then I'll go back on it in the evening. And basically what I found is, because the beginning of my mornings at the moment are quite top heavy from a work perspective. And I want to be on form for that. You know, I want to be focused. I want to be energized. I want to be able to give my sessions my full attention, and I don't want to be distracted by stuff that I've seen on my phone. So I've just found that avoiding social media until lunchtime has helped me from a kind of focus perspective. And then, of course, switching off from it an hour and a half or so before I go to bed has improved my sleep. And, you know, obviously when you're using social media, it's important to only follow people that, you know, have a kind of positive influence on you and all the rest of it. But for me, it was just the general usage that I had a problem with. I could feel that I was just, you know, it's this addiction. Your brain gets that little dopamine. Exactly. And your brain's getting that dopamine hit every time you go on, and every time you're spending so much time scrolling mindlessly, completely mindlessly. And that's okay. Like, mindless scrolling has got its place in the day, of course. Like, it totally has, but I just found that every minute that I wasn't occupied, I was just reaching for my phone and scrolling, looking at stuff that I don't care about. To be honest,
wasting your brain energy.
Yes, exactly. It's it's zapping your energy out of you, and then you've got less to give to the stuff that actually matters. So the people in the room with you, or maybe the work you need to be doing, or even like listening to a podcast or watching something on TV. If I've got my phone there and I'm scrolling, I'm not focusing on anything else. And I think that I had a problem with. So I've been much stricter with my usage this year, and I feel much happier for it.
Oh, that's good. I sometimes think, I wonder what we used to do before we had phones in our hands. Like, did we used to just like stand and look, like when we were waiting?
We did.
And, like, did we just stand?
Yeah,
probably. And
maybe
we
it did.
Gave your brain time to like just deload and chill a little bit. Rather than just constantly active and stimulated and like looking at random stuff on the internet that we don't really care about, but then could still be like subconsciously we could be comparing ourselves, or why don't we have this, why don't we have that? I mean, even if it's not conscious, your brain's active, and not necessarily in a good way either.
No, precisely. Hit the nail on the head there, love.
Thank you very much. Do we have anything else on our list?
Just managing stress is the last one. So indeed. For me, I'm not into yoga. I don't do yoga.
Not kind of yoga, but it's not for everyone.
No, absolutely. God, no. I used to love it. No.
Don't want to hate mail.
No. Nothing against yoga, guys.
Nothing against yoga.
But and I sort of dip in and out of meditation and mindfulness. Trying to get better at doing that more regularly. But anyhow, so for me, it's things like managing stress includes obviously kind of daily movement, getting outside, getting vitamin D, decompressing in that way, but also, not committing to do things I don't want to do. So saying no if, you don't want to do something. I try and
easy, but might not always be.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. And if you've got tendencies to people please, then saying no can be really difficult. But I think knowing what you're going to want to do and what you're not going to want to do is important, actually. Not overcommitting.
It's like prioritizing yourself as well. Like, what do you actually want to do? And not just doing it because you think you should. Like,
exactly. Spending time, I love listening to podcasts. So for me, spending free time listening to things that interest me, listening to things that spark my brain on subjects that I'm interested in, that I find really decompressing. So I'll listen to a podcast in the evening while I'm kind of making dinner, when I'm kind of, or when I'm getting ready for bed sometimes. I find that really relaxing, especially if it's on a subject that I can really get stuck into, or if it's something funny and lighthearted. Either way, I find that a really kind of stress busting thing to do, reading, making sure I'm kind of reading and watching stuff that makes me happy and doesn't make me feel anxious or stressed. What you're consuming, I guess, is my overall point. Consuming media that doesn't add to stress, it sort of alleviates it.
I always think you also need a good mixture of reading knowledgeable things like fiction. No,
fact.
I would say like facts and non-fiction.
And
also just like things, just like fairy tale stuff, not necessarily fairy tale, but you get it,
exactly. Totally.
Fiction stuff, make believe, just something that kind of just takes your brain on a different journey.
Totally.
I used to always read like, I'm going to read about educating things, but then I'm just like, well, no, I think my brain needs to chill out sometimes, and just relax before bed rather than just always take knowledge in.
I did the same. I spent about a year reading industry related books, which were amazing actually, and I'm really glad I did it. But I literally didn't read anything fictional for a year or so, and I learned loads, and it was amazing. And then I suddenly got to the point where I was like, I just want to read a novel, and just read some novels, and that was also amazing because it was what I needed at the time, and that was much more relaxing at a point where I needed it, I think. So kind of consuming the right kind of media and content, knowing when to rest. So I think being a bit selfish and knowing when to rest, trying not to I know when to push my body from a physical and a mental perspective. I know when to push, and then I also know when I need to pull back. And I think knowing that, or finding that distinction, has been really integral in, again, optimizing how I feel on a day-to-day basis. And I think, not understanding your body, understanding when you're having a day, our bodies as women are very complicated. And again, that's a whole nother subject, but there are certain times in our menstrual cycle when we will be feeling kind of really much more energized, productive, focused, happy, and then points where we won't. And I think on the days where you're not, it's fine just to pull it back a bit. Again, if you've got that flexibility in your life, it's fine to pull it back, and not feeling guilty about that. I'm not going to feel guilty if I miss a workout anymore, because life's too short, quite frankly. So learning when to relax, learning when to rest, learning when to push, and then pushing when I can. And then lastly, just spending time with people I love. Filling your time with the right people that make you feel good, positive people, positive influences. It really improves my quality of life.
And choosing who you let into your life.
Indeed. Exactly.
Keep the bad ones out.
That's it.
That makes sense. And really, it sounds like you've got your life together, Laura.
Well, looks can be deceiving.
You're very disciplined with all these habits. But I mean, obviously not everything's perfect, and people watching this aren't going to suddenly be able to do everything all in one go. So I think it's maybe just taking bits of it, nuggets, should we say, of information that might be relevant and pertinent to you.
Exactly.
And just adapting them into your lifestyle. And so maybe it might not be 10,000 steps, it might be 5,000, and it might just be adding a little bit more variety of vegetables into your life. That sounds really interesting. More vegetables, but you do get into the habit of eating the same vegetables,
you do.
Going in the supermarket and getting something you wouldn't normally, and just adding just a tiny little just changing little tiny things can add up and make a big difference.
Exactly.
So thank you for your time, and I'm sure we will see you in this format another time. We will discuss some interesting topics for us next time.
I look forward to it. Bye.
All right, see you later. Bye.
Bye.